and I started losing my memory really badly. I noticed it. I couldn't find the words to talk. And I'm a bit of a talker, but I'm also a huge bookworm. So I've got a very large vocabulary. And I couldn't find even the simplest of words sometimes.
Susan, how did you find carnivore?
Um, well, I had been doing intermittent fasting for a while. And I had tried multiple different diets. And then I was watching YouTube. And I actually found I'd watched Dr. Berg for a little bit doing, and I was trying keto. Um, and then I found Amanda from Carnivore Me. And, I was watching it, I was thinking, well, maybe that's a bit extreme. But one day I had dropped my son off at he was going to work the air show parade in Dayton for the International Air Show. And I was really fed up. Nothing was working. I felt so fat, and I thought I'm just going to go get some steak and butter, and I'm just going to try this. And that was a year ago, July, and I was really shocked because I had to go to the doctor for a physical, and I had dropped 25 pounds, and I didn't even think I dropped that much. I mean, people kept saying it to me, but my clothes, I didn't really feel it that much, although I tend to, wear clothes that are probably a bit too baggy for me sometimes. But so I went, wow, this is working. And then I also noticed that, I have a couple of autoimmune diseases, and I have asthma, and then I also have arthritis because I broke both my kneecaps when I was a teenager, and I also used to be a ballet dancer, so I have problems with arthritis in my foot. And what I was finding is every time I tried to reintroduce vegetables, my arthritis would come back. And yeah, and also I had pretty much kept my ulcerative colitis in control for a long time. I wasn't really suffering, but I was having to take stool softeners and things, but I just didn't have to take any of the really strong, expensive medicine that they used to have me on. But since I did carnivore, I don't need anything, and I don't have the other symptoms from ulcerative colitis either.
That's awesome. So, like, in a period of less than a year, all of these things like arthritis just cleared up.
The actually within a matter, I just noticed it within a matter of a few months. Now I haven't been perfect because there are times when I've tried to reintroduce, like Thanksgiving last year. I cooked ribeye, a a big roast beef, and then I cooked vegetables because my sons like vegetables. Because we've always been a huge vegetable household. My granddad was a big gardener, and my mum we always ate loads of fruit and vegetables. So I had mashed sweet and carrots. Americans would know that as rutabaga, because that's one son's favorite vegetable. I had broccoli, green beans, and Brussels sprouts. And then I had mashed potatoes, and roast parsnips. Lots of vegetables, right? So I thought, surely a little bit of vegetables won't hurt me. So I literally had like a tablespoon of mashed potato, a couple of tablespoons of mashed sweet and carrot, a couple of bits of broccoli, Brussels sprouts, which I love, and green beans. And within 2 hours, I couldn't put any weight on my right foot at all.
It's amazing how quickly they can come back, right?
Mhm. So occasionally I found I can eat arugula, I can eat parsnips. Um, I can tolerate onions and garlic because my sons won't eat carnivore, but I'm trying to get him to at least do keto, the one son that's left at home, because he needs to lose weight. Um, but my weight loss is stalled, and I thought, what am I doing different? And I think it's because I'm not drinking as much water because one of the coaches on Dr. Berry's private group, I had had some blood tests and there was some protein in my water. And she thought I was, because I was drinking 120 to 140 ounces of water a day. And she told me I was drinking too much water. So, but I think I need to increase my water intake again, um, to see if that will help flush things out. And also, I'm being much, much stricter, So, like tonight, I'm going to have lamb chops with just some Kerrygold butter. So, I love lamb, which is great because that's another, ruminant meat. And I typically will get a big boneless leg of lamb and then I'll roast it. And then Matthew will have it with vegetables, and I will just have a big bowl of lamb. I will chop up some mint and put it in some malt vinegar because that's the English thing to do. And that doesn't seem to bother me. And I don't do that very often. Um, and then he usually has the leftover lamb for to make gyros with.
So, and are you eating just once a day, like your dinner, or it's just dinner? Or
Typically once a day. I do keep. I have. Hold on, let me grab it. I know I won't. I have some grass-fed beef sticks in my drawer. I also have some sugar-free beef jerky, and then I have some smoked kippers. So if I'm hungry, and then if I don't fancy that, I tend to try not to eat lunch anyway because I just have so many appointments. Like today, I had to drive down to an appointment down in Cincinnati, and I had to be there for 1 o'clock. So I was driving through lunch, and I find if I eat lunch, that makes me more hungry in the evening, which is weird. So um, is easy. And now, when I was a teenager, I never ate breakfast ever. When I was dancing, I very rarely ate lunch. I usually only ate after I got back from dance class. So it's not something, and it was only when people kept insisting I had to have 3 meals a day or at least 2 meals a day. And then I moved to the States and I became allergic to everything in sight. So I was on I'm allergic to practically every tree in Ohio. And that causes me a lot of food allergies too. So I can't eat strawberries. I can't eat zucchini. I can't eat shrimp anymore. I just found out I tried to eat shrimp at Lent and I broke out in hives. So no more. No, I do eat salmon. So I don't eat just beef. I eat beef, lamb. I love bacon, and there's a local farm shop near me that does sugar-free bacon, and it's organic meat. And so I buy their bulk bacon packs, and I buy pasture-raised eggs, and then I eat salmon. Um, Chicken, if I'm going to do it, I usually cook chicken thighs. So what I'll do is I'll make chicken parmesan for my son, but I'll use the pork panko, and I can tolerate hard cheese. I stay away from soft cheese because I have really bad sinuses, um, and that all affects my asthma too. And I got into I was in Nicole, former fat girl. She challenged me last year not to have any dairy at all. So I now drink my English tea completely black. Now I used to drink my Earl Grey and Lady Grey and Darjeeling black, but now even my Yorkshire tea is black.
nice. So how have people around you reacted to this? Like you basically you must look like you hardly ever eating to
But
friends and family.
the only thing they notice I'm not eating in the office because I'm a regional sales manager, so I'm in and out of the office all the time. I drive about 500 miles a week, so they don't really see that. Um, but they when we have like food brought into the office, a lot of the time I can't eat it. But they've been really good lately, and they've been bringing in. There's a restaurant but there's a whole row of restaurants on a road across the freeway from where we work, and it's called City Barbecue. So they do barbecue. So I'll have some of that meat. Um, and then there's another barbecue place that one of my colleagues likes, and so, but like they might bring in roasted chicken and I'll pick all the coating off, you know. But sometimes I just find it easier not to eat it.
And the great thing is, when you're eating this way, um, if you choose not to eat, it's no skin off your nose, right? It feels fine, right?
Mhm. Now I gained 12 pounds back recently because I had a really, really nasty sinus infection and the doctor put me on antibiotics and they didn't work and he put me on some more antibiotics and they broke I apparently was allergic to them. I got really bad side effects. More antibiotics. So now I'm using a steroid inhaler, but I'm trying really hard not to pick or cheat or do anything like that. So um I try to always keep loads of ground beef in the house. And I buy the pre-made sirloin burger patties from Sam's Club. And then they also have some beef kielbasas that they have 2 grams of carbs in them. But you know, if I'm not eating anything else with them, I don't think it's going to kill me. Um, but and then I do buy there's a local farm shop near me. They're German Baptists, so they have some pork sausage that is only seasoned with salt and pepper. And then I will also a lot of time buy my ground beef from them because it's brought in from that. That's all from beef from local farmers. Then I also there's a farm shop in the next village over from where I live, and the lady that owns it, her kids and my kids were in school together, and all her animals are pasture raised organic. So I'll go and I'll just stock up a load of ground beef and sirloin steak, and um, she has some chicken sausages that my son likes. So occasionally I'll eat some of those, and buy eggs from her as well. I tend to buy Kerrygold butter because it tastes like the butter I'm used to in Europe because it's European, of course. America, I don't like American butter. It's tasteless. And it's got a really high, I used to be a huge baker as well. So I always bought European butter anyway because it's got a higher fat content, cream content, and it's less water. So it's better baking results. So I will buy the Irish butter from Aldi if I can't get any Kerrygold. But like when I leave here tonight, I'm going to go to Sam's Club. I buy a big box of Kerrygold and then I'll buy their 1.5 dozen pasture eggs. And they've got some grass feed ground beef that is organic that I'll buy sometimes as well. And they also have some prime rib sliders, and I buy these little sliders and I just make them into little meatballs.
Nice. Um, so you mentioned that you're driving about 500 miles a week. So I'm interested in how has being on this way of eating impacted anything about maybe your attitude or alertness or anything with your driving? Because I know for me, I love driving, but driving can be kind of a frustrating experience at times. So
I've always enjoyed driving because, and I'm a bit of a I'm a bit of a masochist as well, I suppose, because like the car that I am planning on buying is another manual transmission because I have been driving a hybrid automatic for the last 4 years and it is so boring. It's so boring. And my son, and although right now it's in the body shop because it's poorly after being hit by a deer, but I'm gonna give that to my son. So I'm looking at a Volkswagen Jetta. So I'm a very defensive driver, but that's how I was taught in England. So and I do get mad when people take my braking space. I'll tell you one of the things that has improved tremendously, and I keep pushing my glasses because I need to go get them adjusted again. My eyesight has improved dramatically. I went to the optician in January because I was driving to work and all of a sudden I was trying to get off the exit and everything went double. And I'd been suffering from a lot of headaches. So I came into the office and I closed one eye and it's like, okay, that's not double. Close the other. Yeah, that's double. So I took my glasses off and it wasn't double. And I can drive without my glasses anyway. They're mainly reading and computer. But I called my colleague said, you better call your eye doctor. So I called my eye doctor and they had a opening and I went to see them. And he said, what have you been doing? And I said, why? He said, well, you have an astigmatism. I went, I know. He said, well, it's reduced by 50%. And the reason you're seeing double is also your right eye has improved 20 points. Your glasses are way too strong for you. And my left eye, which is my good eye, because I have amblyopia in my right eye, my left eye is perfectly healthy, really. It had improved 5 points. So he suggested I only get the lenses changed in one pair of glasses because he said, I'm sure I'm going to see you back here to get them changed again. And I probably do have to, I've been noticing that I've been having issues again, so I've got to go back and see him again. He
That's
said if I kept
awesome.
going like that, I might not have to wear glasses anymore.
That's great. That's kinda like people that go on carnivore with high blood pressure, taking the medications, and then realize the medications are reducing their blood pressure so much because carnivore has helped them. It's kind of the same thing
Well,
with your
and
glasses, right?
I had COVID 4 years ago, and I was in hospital for 2.5 weeks. And after COVID, I gained so much weight because I was on intravenous steroids, and and until the last 12 pounds I gained back, I'd lost 70 pounds from that. But my blood pressure had gone up, and I always historically had really low blood pressure. Um, and so they kept saying I was hypertensive, and I had to go see a cardiologist because I was getting some issues, and they found two blockages in my heart, but they're not big enough to do anything with. And so he put me on 80 milligrams of atorvastatin, and I started losing my memory really badly. I noticed it. I couldn't find the words to talk, and I'm a bit of a talker, but I'm also a huge bookworm, so I've got a very large vocabulary. And I couldn't find even the simplest of words sometimes. So um, because I was then following Dr. Berry and what Dr. Chafee and Dr. Tony Hampton. And I asked Dr. Berry because I was in his private group, and I said, look, this is what my cholesterol is now. It's 175. My triglycerides are 58. My HDL 61. My LDL is 119, but my VLDL is only 11. And he said, you don't need to be on cholesterol medicine. So what we did, because I didn't want to give my doctors a heart attack, I had my doctor switch me to Crestor. And then with my primary care doctor's permission, I weaned myself off it. So I'm not taking cholesterol medicine at all anymore. The other thing that's happened recently is since I had COVID, it really disrupted my sleeping patterns, and I've been on Ambien ever since I had COVID, and I'm now completely off sleeping pills.
Oh, wow. Nice. Um, so on the cholesterol medications, like, when you stopped that, or when you switched to Crestor, or when you stopped it altogether, was that when you started getting the memory coming back?
Oh yeah, within 3 weeks, I felt like 1,000 times better. And I was also my muscles. I was having a hard time opening jars and bottles of sparkling water because my muscle strength had got so weak.
It's scary how quickly that can happen as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as strong as I used to be, and I've just bought myself a vibration plate that has resistance bands on it. And so I do that for 20 minutes every morning for on not completely the high. I worked my way up from the lowest setting. I'm at 4 now, so there's goes up to 5. Um, but also I find it helps my the arthritis in my foot as well. Because if I cheat at anything, the arthritis comes back immediately. So, and occasionally, when you got kids coming over, sometimes especially when my one son won't eat carnivore, there's things in the house, and sometimes, like I ate some peanuts, but then I regretted it. So, but yeah,
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 so
kind of stalled though, but I know that that's why I've been making sure that I'm not cheating.
mm, and, you know, talking about your son won't do carnivore, but have you had anyone show any interest in it?
Oh yeah, I have sent out the links to Dr. Berry, Dr. Hampton, Dr. Chafee, Dr. Kiltz, Dr. Eric Westman, to a whole host of people. And I actually bumped into one of my old neighbors in Sam's about 3 weeks ago, and she's lost. She said, "Oh no, I'm on some special diet." And I looked at her cart, and all I could see were burger patties, butter, and eggs. So I said, "Patty, are you on the carnivore diet?" And she said, "Yes, how did you know?" I said, "Because I am as well." But she's too shy. She follows Dr. Berry, but she does never says anything in the chat. So I bragged on her behalf because she's lost 100 pounds.
That's an awesome amount of weight loss, right?
It is, yeah.
Wow, nice. So it's the message is getting out there, right? It's spreading.
Oh yeah, there's I belong to a business network. I belong to BNI, which is Business Networking International. And there are several carnivores amongst us. And actually my choir had a Christmas party, and so they all wanted me to make my normal shortbreads and ginger snaps and all that, and I did, but I wasn't eating them. And now there was one of the other guys in my choir, and we were talking, and he said, "I'm carnivore as well, Susan," but he just didn't want to say anything.
Oh, nice. So if someone came to you and said, "Look, Susan, I wanna give this a try. How can I get started?" What would you recommend to them?
I usually what I do is I send them all the links, and one of the links is the where Dr. Berry will send out the keto guide for beginners. I just jumped cold turkey. I mean, I've been doing intermittent fasting, but I had been eating things I shouldn't. I should never have been eating gluten because of my ulcerative colitis, but I was. Typically, it was stuff I made, so at least it didn't have any of the chemicals in it because I only buy organic ingredients. But my doctor actually said that, Susan, I know you think there's no chemicals in there, but there probably still are. Um, so I don't think jumping straight into 100% beef, bacon, butter, eggs is good for everyone. For me, I'm kind of an all or nothing kind of person, and I just find it easier. I mean, yeah, I love to cook and I love to bake, but right now doing this is really simple. It makes life really easy, except for dealing with Matthew. So I did make beef chili, and the chili I make has um, roasted crushed tomatoes in it. And so I will eat a little bit of that, but not too much because I can tolerate a little bit of cooked tomatoes, but not much because the tomatoes set my arthritis off.
Yeah. Wow. So Susan, how can people reach out to you? You have a YouTube channel, yeah?
Yeah, I got 2 videos. Mike Shaw kept pestering me, and I've done 2, but I've been so busy I haven't done any more. I would like to do some more. In fact, the boys built me a brand new computer at Christmas, and because they do gaming, so they've got all these spare parts from when they've been upgrading their gaming computers. So apparently, the graphics card I have in my computer is probably better than anybody, you know, or they somebody my age would think would have. So, so I just need to. Trouble is I brought my camera in for work because my monitor at work didn't have a camera, so I need to buy another camera for home now.
So I'll link to your YouTube channel below. Um, Thank you so much for coming on, Susan, and sharing your story. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you. I mean, as I said, it's a huge honor because I mean, I think you're one of the like loudest voices out there.